We're going to take a look in this video at getting some more practice solving equations. Write down these three questions and then pause the video. Once you've calculated the value of x and checked your solutions to each one, then resume the video and you can see the full solutions for each question and see how you made out. So if we take a look at the first question here, we have a fraction, x over 3 minus 4 is equal to 1. Well, let's think just for a moment. This should make sense to you. We have some number, let's not worry about the x over 3. We have some number minus 4 that has to equal 1. Well, there's only one number that if we take 4 away from it can equal 1, and that has to be 5, because 5 minus 4 is equal to 1. Well, and now we know that x over 3 has to equal 5. So now we need some number divided by 3 that equals 5. And you probably can get by inspection that x should equal 15. So we get an idea of what the solution should be just by looking at the equation, but let's go ahead and solve. In order to get rid of the negative 4 first, we have to add 4 to each side of the equation. And when we add 4 to each side of the equation, we land up on the left-hand side with x over 3, and on the right-hand side, we land up with 1 plus 4. So we have x over 3 is equal to 4 plus 1, which is 5. And now to clean things up, we represent our whole number as a fraction over 1. And now you notice we have a fraction on the left and a fraction on the right. And so what we do is we cross multiply bottom to top on both sides of the equation. So now we've got x times 1 is equal to 5 times 3. And x times 1 is x, and 5 times 3 is 15. And so you see it's the same as what we thought it was going to be, and if we just do a little mental check here, we have 15 over 3 minus 4, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. 5 minus 4 is 1, and that is equal to the right-hand side. And let's take a look now at another practice problem where we have a variable in the denominator of a fraction. So remember, the first thing we have to do, whether we have the variable in the numerator of the fraction or in the denominator of the fraction like in this one, we have to isolate and get that fraction all by itself first. So we get rid of the plus 8 by subtracting 8 from both sides. And then we are left with 2 divided by x is equal to 10 minus 8. And 2 divided by x is equal to 10 minus 8, which is 2. And now we could do it by inspection here as well. What's the value of x? If we take 2, what's the only number we can divide by and not change the number and be left with 2? Well, and the answer should be 1, but let's see. Following our rules, we make the 2 on the right-hand side a fraction, and now we cross-multiply bottom to top on both sides. This gives us on the left-hand side 2 times 1, and on the right-hand side 2 times x. And now 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times x is 2x. And now remember, we always do the opposite operation, and we're going to have to, now to get rid of the 2, to get the x by itself, we're going to have to divide both sides of the equation by 2. Those 2's cancel. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and we have x on the right. And indeed, when you plug this in, 2 over 1 plus 8 is 2 plus 8, which is equal to 10, and that does equal the original right-hand side of this equation. Taking a look at this question now, just making it a little bit more difficult, we've got a bracket on the left, and then we've got x's and numbers all over the place. So our first step here is going to be to get rid of our bracket. We have to do the brackets first, and once there's no more brackets, then we can solve using our reverse order of operations. So here, remember, 2 times x plus 2 is really 2 times x and then 2 times positive 2. So 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 2 is 2 times positive 2 is positive 4. And remember, there's a positive sign out front here. So we have 2x plus 4 minus x is equal to 6x minus 16 plus 2x minus 1. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange the left-hand side and the right-hand side, and I'm going to put all my x's together and all my numbers together. I'm not going to perform any operations yet. I'm just going to sort of collect the terms and put them together. So on the left, I have a 2x minus x. I'll put those together. And then on the right-hand side, I've got a 6x plus 2x, and then a negative 16 minus 1. So all I've done is rearrange and put my x's together and my numbers together. And now what I can do, before I start moving things left and right, I want to simplify each side of the equation and get x and a number. And so here, 2x minus 1x is 1x. So on the left-hand side, I have 1x plus 4. And on the right-hand side, 6x plus 2x is 8x. And negative 16 minus 1 is negative 17. And now, I notice that my larger x is on the right-hand side. My larger x is on the right-hand side, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this my x side and this my number side. So in order to move the 17 from the right to the left, I'm going to add 17 to both sides. And so on the left-hand side here, I land up with x plus 4 plus 17. And on the right-hand side, I have 8x. And I'm sure you're comfortable enough now when we have a negative 17 and a plus 17, you know those are a wash. We don't have to write that part. And now, I don't want to move the 4 and the 17, do anything with the 4 and the 17. I want to make sure I combine those first. So my next step here is going to be x plus, and 4 plus 17 is 21. And that will equal 8x. And now what I need to do is move my x from, I have to move this x over to the right-hand side, and so I subtract x from each side of the equation. And x minus x on the left here, x minus x is a wash, they cancel. So on the left-hand side, I just have 21. And now I have 8x minus 1x. And combining my terms on the right, 8x minus 1x is 7x. And I'm almost done here. I notice here the sign is 7 times x, so the operation is multiplication. And so in order to get rid of the 7, to get the x by itself, I need to divide both sides of the equation by 7. The 7's cancel. On the right-hand side, I'm left with x. And on the left-hand side, I'm left with 21 divided by 7, which is 3. And we can go back up to our original question here, and we can check and see if x equals 3 is indeed correct. And I'll just do this on the next page quickly. And we see here now, if we plug in 3 for x, we get 2 times 3 plus 2 minus 3 is equal to 6 times 3 minus 16 plus 2 times 3 minus 1. And so following our order of operations, 2 plus 3 is 5. And so here we get 2 times 5 minus 3. These are multiplication signs, not x's, so don't get confused. I'll make them a little smaller. 2 times 5 minus 3 is equal to, and I can start doing my order of operations here. 6 times 3 is 18. And now I have minus 16 plus 2 times 3 is 6 minus 1. So I did my 2 multiplications on the right-hand side and left my subtractions. And now on the right-hand side, sorry. And now on the left-hand side, 2 times 5 is 10 minus 3. And now I can go and figure out what the right-hand side is. 18 minus 16 is 2. 2 plus 6 is 8. And 8 minus 1 is 7. And on the left-hand side here, my last one is 10 minus 3, which is 7. So you see I verified that x for this equation, the value of x that makes this side of the equation equal to this side of the equation is x equals 3. So that should give you some practice with solving equations and verifying the answers by plugging your answer back in to the original question.